Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest Chapter 173 is out, and this was a really hype chapter. I will not lie to you. I was kind of taken out of it due to specific instances of the last couple of chapters, then got slowly brought back. But this chapter, 100%, I'm completely locked back in, no questions asked, because things are really heating up, and I have a lot to say for this chapter. Before we jump into things, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Also, I'm presenting a challenge to my subscribers. If I can end up reaching 30k subs before the end of the year, I'm going to start doing retrospective manga reviews for 7 Deadly Sins and Fairy Tail's original mangas. So that will be going through the entirety of 2025. I will be trying to do retrospective reviews for both of those series. So let's make the 30k by the end of the year so I can lock in and do those videos. Now with that out of the way, let's jump right into the chapter. Chapter 173 of 100 Years Quest, titled World in Chaos. Cover image is just Wendy learning how to play the piano. But we cut to the actual meat of the chapter as we're in Dramil as Erza has arrived. And what is she looking at? A bunch of human-dragon hybrids versus a bunch of shadow people as they're essentially killing each other. As she's looking through all the carnage and chaos, she thinks back to what Midnight said, as he said that she's the only one who can save the town. Now, even she thinks that this situation is ridiculous. Now, I'm curious how she can help the town. She probably can't. Best case is the Lacrima maybe in the general area, but still, I'm not sure how Erza can stop things. But as she's thinking this, a dragon hybrid ends up attacking Erza, and she manages to block the attack. Now, before anyone says anything, look, Erza's already freakishly strong, and these are just ant-human hybrids, so I put it in the realm of possibility for Erza to manage to hold back a lunge attack from one arm against one of these dragon characters. She's a beast in and of herself, and these aren't complete dragon. But after managing to block that attack, these shadow-possessed people start to lunge at her as she continues to dodge. And she's wondering if they're wizards. But then she takes another look, and she sees that they're people that are being controlled using black magic. And she's completely confused over the situation with dragon-human hybrids fighting against humans controlled by black magic to kill each other, as she then feels an intense aura. As she looks up at 2 buildings, and we get a 2-page spread of Faris staring down Ignia. And look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this singular 2-page spread made me lock in 100% for the rest. I don't care about anything else. Faris versus Ignia, they're piping this up, building this up. I really hope this is good, and I am incredibly invested in it. Also, there's definitely a really cool stare down panel. I will die on this hill. It is really cool, really hype. Anybody that says otherwise is just wrong. Erza recognizes Ignia and even realizes that this is the Black Wizard Faris that Natsu briefly told her about. And so Faris begins to talk to Ignia, asking him if it's fun to turn humans into dragons. But Ignia tells her that he's not doing this for fun. He's doing this so he can satirize the world with dragons. And I just love Faris's reaction to this. She just shrugs her shoulders with a smile and was like, okay. Like, she doesn't really care too much in that instance. But then Ignia asks why she is controlling humans. And Faris just admits that she's just doing this for fun, showing she has a sadistic side, just enjoying the sheer chaos. Obviously, she wants to destroy everything, but it's just nice to see something else where she's just like enjoying causing as much chaos in this instance by controlling people and forcing them to fight to the death with dragons. Erza, now being the only fighter in the area, takes out her sword and begins to lunge towards the top 2 characters in the verse right now, thinking that she can do something and take part in this fight. And the 2 of them just kind of stared at Erza with like no interest whatsoever, as like a nuisance. But then Erza is then blocked and countered by a silhouetted figure. And this really does shock Erza, as this person says, "I'm your opponent." First off, this panel of this dark silhouette, we get an idea of who this is, but this just looks super cool and menacing. And in the next page, we see WED in his dragonized form, and my god, does he look amazing. This is probably one of the best designs for anybody that is not an antagonist, and this is a support antagonist a side antagonist, not the main antagonist of the arc. WED is exuding main antagonist villain energy with just this design alone. Now look, I wasn't crazy about Brian's dragon design, but WED's is just insanely awesome, and it makes me hyped to see what the rest of Fire and Flame are gonna look like. And now he's going off to face Erza, as she's shocked by his dragon form. He then slams Erza to the ground as she gets her footing, as he states he wanted to settle things before he dragonified, but there's nothing to be done about it now. As he says, let us determine who is number one with a sword in the whole world. As now, instead of Erza getting caught up in the fight between Faris and Ignia, those two are going to be off doing their own thing, now Erza is going to be fighting WED. All while off in the far distance, there is the Irrational Saints versus the Irrational Sex. So that's going on. But we don't linger in Dramil for too long, unfortunately, as we cut to the former site of the Gold Owl Guild, as we meet back up with Gray, as he is lamenting his situation, because the giant lacrima that he has to destroy is right on top of Viernes. So yeah, he's kind of in probably a worse situation than Lucy, because at least Lucy had Brandish around to give her an assist, and he's completely solo in this aspect. It's also very possible that in this instance, Viernes notices that Gray is there. So he's kind of in bad luck because he's not even a Dragon Slayer. Unless, let's say, Sabretooth shows up or Loxus and Gagio come in for the save for some big counterattack. But even then, I doubt they'll do much of anything if just to destroy the Lacrima. Hopefully, we get some more characterization for Viernes in Gray's interaction with him, and it's not a one-sided just slugfest against Gray and him having to retreat or do something to at least destroy the Lacrima and get out of there with his life intact. That's my thing with what happened with Alderaan, unless it was just a big misdirect that will get brought back at a later point, but I highly doubt it at this point. And Mercphobia being underwhelming due to it being done so quickly due to a technicality. I kind of really hope Viernes is done some form of justice, but it is what it is. We'll have to wait and see. But we then cut over again to Diablos, as Wendy appears and witnesses all the Dragon Slayers of Diablos that we've met along the way have just been completely and utterly decimated by Selene, as Wendy's going up to wonder what's going on to everybody, as Selene ended up going into her dragon form and went ballistic on all of them. Wendy offers to heal everybody. Suzaku is trying to act tough by saying he doesn't need it, but Kieran's like, dude, don't be shy. I'm going to take her up on this offer. As Carla's wondering where Selene has gone, Misaki states that she fully turned into a dragon, lost all reason, and so there's no helping it now. But Wendy says no, I'll restore her to normal. I swear it as a Sky Dragon Slayer. As everyone's wondering, since when has Wendy been this confident in their time meeting her and acting so dependable? Honestly, when Wendy's by herself, a lot of the times she tends to try and be as dependable and as confident as possible, and she has the strength and stats to build it up with her abilities and to back herself up. But now I feel like once she restores Diablos and not being caught off by surprise, they could have some sort of plan to at least distract Selene, break the Lacrima, and snap her back to her senses like what happened with Mercphobia. But I would love to see a full-on fight between all of them, at least something that's really quick, that'll showcase just how domineering Selene actually is, because she only really had one real fight, and her fight with Ignia was super, super short. But that ends the chapter. Now, I am incredibly hyped for Ignia versus Faris, and now Erza versus the dragonified WED, and I'm curious to see how his magic has increased from this instance. Erza's got a Dragon Slaying Sword and the Dragon Slayer Seal, so I hope we bring those back to actually give her some extra oomph, because the second when Natsu used Dragon Slayer magic against Brian, the fight turned back into his favor because his magic was a lot more effective against Brian. And Erza having those aspects definitely adds more to her favor. She also has a double Slayer sword, so maybe that's why she has potentially an advantage against the people that have been turned into these dark creatures that are attacking each other, but that's besides the point. Gray's screwed. Look, no matter how much power friendship stuff you guys are going to say in the comments about Gray, his situation is by far the worst out of anybody's. He's by himself. Unless someone comes in with a save that could potentially help him destroy the Lacrima at the very least, he's screwed. There's no other way around it. Wendy has a much better options right now. Yeah, Diablos got folded by a full-powered Selene going ballistic, but at least now they have Wendy, a healer, as well as somebody that can enhance their stats and abilities. So chances are they will have a better chance to at least hold off Celine until they can destroy the Lacrima and snap her back to her senses. And the Seis are fighting against the Sex, so we got a whole bunch of fights and plot lines converging in this moment, all while Natsu's actually on his way to Dramil, so we'll see what happens with that. And I'm still curious to see how the following chapters are going to conclude. If we're just going to wrap up Gray and Wendy's storylines first and then jump back to Dramil, where the main meat of the arc seems to be now, where the main driving forces of the arc are there. I'm curious to see where this will lead up to. And man, I really want to make videos on what the heck is probably going to happen next, but I'm going to decide that for a later portion. But that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions of this chapter in the comment section down below. What are you most anticipated for? What's your most hyped up fight? How do you feel about WED's design? I think it looks really cool. How screwed do you think Gray is in this situation? Let me know in the comments down below. And once more, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel. It shows you want to see more. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.